Hi everyone. God, it makes so much of a difference filming in the daytime. The camera just works so much better. But yeah. So hello. I'm sort of a day late on my post, but I'm not going to bother saying it's late because, like, even though we sort of said we do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like, you know, does it really matter if we do it a day late? So yeah. So Josh, I haven't actually watched your full video yet, just because I really haven't had the chance. I've been so busy. But yeah, I will watch it after I've done this. I was out all day yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to do a video, so obviously I'm doing it now. And I'm carrying on with my sort of Bible women theme that I've been doing, and I'm going to talk about Leah and Rachel today. You know, like the original sort of sibling rivalry, if you like, or between girls anyway. So yeah, so I'm going to start with Genesis 29:16. Now, I'm really sorry, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I don't actually know how to pronounce a lot of the names in the Bible, and like when I did my video the other day, I don't know if I think it's pronounced Michael, not Mikhail, but I'm not actually sure, so I do apologise for that. I don't, you know, obviously I've never had to read Bible text before, so yeah, so Genesis 29:16. Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. 17. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. And that's a really strange sort of description to put of someone, you know, to introduce them to a story. Leah had weak eyes. But when I was doing some reading up on it, it made out like her eyes were weak from crying because she wanted to marry Jacob, rather than Esau, who was his brother. But by this point in the Bible, I don't think she'd actually met Jacob yet, so I'm not actually sure, you know, if that's what it is or not. 18. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I'll work for you for 7 years in return for your younger daughter Rachel." And Laban, who was Rachel and Leah's father, agreed to this. You know, and said, yeah, you work for me for 7 years and then I'll give you, you know, Rachel's hand in marriage sort of thing. So he did. He worked for him for 7 years. Sorry, Lucy sort of flopped onto her front there. So he worked for him for 7 years, and then at the end of the 7 years, they had the wedding, and it wasn't until the next morning that Jacob realised that he'd married and slept with Leah instead of Rachel, which is just pretty crazy, because surely you'd notice. I don't know. But yeah. So he's all like obviously a bit annoyed that, you know, he's deceived him. And Laban replies, this is Genesis 29:26. Laban replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one." 27. Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we will give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work. So yeah, that says it all really. There's not really anything you have to read between the lines on that. So yeah, so he's married Rachel now. No, he hasn't. He's married Leah now. But he wants to marry Rachel, so he's got to do another 7 years of work, and then he can marry Rachel. But I think from what I've read, he marries Rachel and then does the 7 years of work. So yeah. 29:13. Oh no, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself there. Sorry. So yeah, so Laban's obviously let Jacob marry. So Jacob's married Rachel, sorry. No, he hasn't. He's married Leah. I'm sorry, I'm getting so confused. So yeah, he's married Leah, and now he's married Rachel. So he's married to them both at the same time. But obviously Rachel's his favourite, you know. He doesn't really love Leah, he loves Rachel. So God sees this and decides that Rachel isn't going to be able to have children. Yeah, so 29:13. When the Lord saw that Leah wasn't loved, he enabled her to conceive, but Rachel remained childless. So yeah, like I said, he's seen that Leah's not loved, so he's decided that she can have children, but Rachel can't because she's got her husband's love. So yeah, so Leah starts having children, 29:35. She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, oh no, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself again, I'm so sorry. So yeah, she has 6 sons by Jacob, basically, and a daughter as well. But she has 4, the first 4, and then her and Rachel have their rivalry thing, and it's not as much, I mean it is over the husband, but it's also about sort of the spiritual sort of approval from God, I suppose, spiritual like growth or whatever with God. So their sort of rivalry over this, as well as, you know, for the husband. So Leah has the sons, and she sort of thinks, oh, you know, now I've borne all these sons for my husband, maybe he'll love me now. And obviously he still doesn't. So when she has, so then you go on to 29:13, and she says, and it says, she conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, this time I will praise the Lord. And she named him Judah. So she's, you know, been having all these sons, trying to please her husband. You know, it hasn't worked, so she's like, okay, this time I'm going to thank, you know, God. And, you know, he's obviously the one that's, you know, helping me have all these sons. My husband still doesn't care, so, yeah. So she, as I said, she is the mother of 6 of Jacob's sons and a daughter. And there's a bit in between that's a bit crazy, where Leah has her first 4 sons. Obviously Rachel still hasn't had any, and she's obviously really insanely jealous. So she employs one of her maidservants to sleep with Jacob, you know, to marry him, and have sons. So she has 2 sons that way. And then Leah does the same, because she's not getting pregnant for a while as well. So she employs her maidservant to do the same. They have 2 sons each through the maidservants, which obviously they raise as their own. And then eventually, well, in Genesis 30:22 it says, then God remembered Rachel, he listened to her and enabled her to conceive. 23, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and said, God has taken away my disgrace, and she named him Joseph. And Joseph, as we all know, was Jacob's favourite son. And I'm sure you've all seen Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, one of my favourite musicals. Actually, when I was researching this, and obviously when I'm doing my research, I, you know, have to sort of research. I'm like researching one thing, and then I have to sort of check something else just to make sure that it all coincides with each other. And I got on to Joseph and Jacob and that, and I thought, oh, you know, I haven't seen that for ages, so I've gone onto YouTube and, you know, watched a few clips from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which you should all do, because it will just get you in a really festive mood, I think. But yeah, so she has Joseph, and then later on Benjamin as well. So that's their story, really. It's just all very, you know, lots of rivalry, lots of competition and stuff. I think having sisters myself, I can definitely relate to a lot of, you know, their sort of, I mean, you know, not with obviously rivalry with God, but rivalry, or not even rivalry for men really, maybe with my younger sister, because like I always used to find when I was younger that if I liked someone, they wouldn't like me, they'd like my sister, because she's, you know, blonde and pretty, and yeah. So I can definitely relate to sort of that sort of story, and when I came across that, I just thought it was really interesting, and I definitely wanted to do a video about it. So Leah and Rachel. Leah, I think, died before Jacob, sorry, not Joseph. I'm not sure about Rachel. But yeah, obviously Rachel was Jacob's favourite wife, so therefore he favoured, you know, Joseph above all of his other sons, which is obviously the whole story of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So that is my contribution for today. Hopefully we'll get to see Jo's video again if her morning sickness has eased off. Hope you're feeling better, Jo. And I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye.